Hey, and welcome back to the channel. Quick question for you. Are you tired of feeling stuck in your playing, really struggling to make progress, and playing parts that truly impact your congregation on a Sunday? You know, if you feel like that, I know the feeling because for many years I felt the same. I tried countless different lessons and techniques, but nothing really seemed to click where I could take my guitar skills and transfer it to a worship setting. But you know what? When I stumbled upon a simple trick, it completely transformed my worship guitar playing almost overnight. And in this video, I'm going to share that secret weapon with you so that you too can experience that same level of breakthrough in your own playing. So I want to go ahead and invite you to grab your guitar and get ready to take your worship guitar skills to the next level. So what was this big realization for me? Well, at its core, it was understanding that I don't have to play all of the notes or all of the strings within a chord. And number two, I don't actually have to fret all of the notes within a chord, and I can really just learn how to play chord fragments. So when you look at a G chord like this, I can play this, I can play that, this, that, or that, instead of a full G chord like that. Now there's many different ways to play chord fragments on the guitar, and of course I knew that before, but it wasn't until I stumbled upon the specific use of diads in a worship setting, which is simply using two notes. Yes, you can definitely use more notes as it relates to chord fragments, but it was diads that unlocked the guitar neck for me in a different way, because then instead of thinking about complicated chord voicings all over the guitar neck and all keys, I was able to just focus on two notes at a time. Now that's known as a dyad, and in some instances people call that a double stop, and I'm going to give you the full tour about this on the guitar. But when you learn how to use dyads the right way, you're going to see that they work super well on the guitar. So why do they work so well? Well, like I said, it's two-note voicings that create some richer and more open sounds on your guitar as opposed to playing full chords, which sometimes can become a little bit cumbersome. And by stripping down the chords to these essential notes, dyads really offer you a more simplified and powerful approach to worship guitar playing. And the reason they work well is that they remove the complexity of those full chords, and it really just allows you to focus on the notes that are going to make a big impact. And when you have fewer notes to focus on, your playing becomes cleaner and more precise, and these dyads can also create a lot of space in a musical arrangement and really blend super well with the other instruments. Now, whenever I think of these dyads or chord fragments, I'm always reminded of the story of how David defeated Goliath. You see, David volunteered to go ahead and fight Goliath, and in that time, King Saul offered his armor to David, but it was too much. If you go and read about it in 1 Samuel 17, verse 38 to 39, you're going to see that it was just too much for him, it was too cumbersome. Instead, David just decided to take his staff, his sling, and 5 smooth stones from a nearby brook. And even Goliath was insulted by the Israelites that they would send a young boy without proper armor or weapons to fight him. Instead, David just rocked up with the staff, the sling, and those few stones, and his trust was really in the Lord, and he knew that God was with him. So with 1 stone from his slingshot, he was able to strike Goliath in the forehead and causing the giant to fall face down, and he didn't need all of that cumbersome armor. He could get the job done with 1 stone. Now, of course, David's trust was in the Lord and in his knowledge that God was with him and that God would go with him. That obviously goes without saying. But the point that I'm making here is that when it comes to David's choice for weapons and armor, he decided to take the less is more approach. That same idea can be applied to how we use voicings on the guitar. So instead of trying to play all these big chord voicings that'll be cumbersome, you can go ahead and get around the guitar with just 2-note voicings. And in this lesson, I'm going to give you a taste of 5 essential dyad voicings that I believe every worship guitarist should know, and we'll go ahead and unpack each one of these voicings and then discover how they can go ahead and transform your playing. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first type of 2-note chords that I want to show you is simply power chords. And power chords is when you just play the root note and the fifth note of a chord, creating a really strong and assertive tone and sound because they don't have the third in the chord. Now on the electric guitar, power chords can really cut through the mix and they can provide a solid backbone for a worship experience. So like I said, it's just two notes. So I can play G like this, C, E5, and D. Or I can play G and C, E5, and D. So simply two notes at a time. You can go ahead and grab the cheat sheet of this lesson, which will go ahead and show you all of these different 5 types of two-note chords. The second type of two-note voicing that I really love is octaves. And an octave is being played like this. And the name comes from this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So octaves, they're 8 letter names apart. It's playing a G note and then another G note, or a C note and another C note, an E note and another E note, a D note and another D note. Now octaves are simple yet effective dyad voicings that can really add depth and clarity to your playing. And by playing the same note on 2 different strings, you can go ahead and create a rich and a full sound, and it also be super maneuverable across the guitar neck. And they work especially well on the guitar when you need to switch between chords real quick. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly show you the difference between power chords and octaves. So it's quite a big difference. The power chords give you that solid foundation, but as soon as I play those octaves, then I get a totally different sound that cuts through the mix. So that's our power chords and our octaves. The third type of dyad voicing that I really enjoy is what we call the 4-2 voicing. So I can play C like this, G, D, and E minor. And those come from what I showed you in the beginning of the video when you have a triad and you just remove the middle note. So 4-2s are really great because now, instead of like the power chords where I don't have the third, or where it's octaves and I only have one note, now I can actually have a different combination of voicings. Here I have a power chord, which is a root in the fifth. Here I have a G major, which is the third in the bass with the root as the highest note. And here I have G with the fifth in the bass and the third is the highest note, and this two-note voicing doesn't actually have the root note present. So by playing these 4-2 voicings, you create a really balanced and open sounds, and these 4-2 voicings are perfect for the electric guitar because they allow you to play chords higher up on the neck without sacrificing any clarity or any proper foundations. I'll go ahead and play that for you again with the track, but first let's look at another type of a dyad which is being played on the first and second strings. So the first and second string, I can play a G like this, or like that, or even like this. These are 3 different versions of a G chord by simply playing it on the first and second strings. Now, if you look at what we've done, we've played power chords, which is literally just 2 notes. We've played octaves. We've played the 4-2s. And then you can do the same with just 2 notes. So it'll be G, C, E minor, and G. G, C, and then E minor, and D. Now instead of playing it there, you just do it on strings 1 and 2. Now these voicings are super versatile and they work super well when creating melody lines. with kind of chords on strings 1 and 2, and they really cut through the mix, adding a bright and a shimmering quality to your playing. The last type of two-note voicing I'm going to look at before we do a jam over a track is what we call 10th voicings. So you remember that octaves were 8 letter names apart. And a 10th would simply be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a much different sound when I play G, D, E minor, C, as opposed to G, D, E minor, C, or power chords G, D, E minor, C, or the 4 2s G, D, E minor, C, or the 1 2s G, D, E minor, C, G, D, E minor, C. Can you see how those 5 different types of dyad voicings really give you a cool sound? Specifically these 10th voicings. We've got the description. You'll be able to find a link to a cheat sheet that will give you all of these voicings. In case you want to go ahead and grab that, download it to your computer together with the track that we are jamming over right now, so you can go ahead and practice that on your own. Now the 10ths, they have a lot more of an expansive sound, as opposed to just the power chords or octaves. As you can see, all of them have a very specific sound. And the 10th voicings work super well on the electric guitar because it adds a little bit of a almost a drama or an emotional intensity to your playing, sounding a little bit more organic and even orchestral when you're playing it like that. Now, knowing these 5 types of dyad voicings will really help you to enhance the emotional impact you are able to make on the guitar. That's one of the most powerful aspects of these dyad voicings, is their ability to evoke various types of emotions and create like distinct atmospheres in your playing. Every type of these dyads will have a different kind of a sonic character and a frequential character, and it can be used in a whole different range of feelings and moods. When you play power chords, they're going to be strong and assertive sounds, perfect for conveying a sense of strength and confidence and triumph in your playing whenever you need to create some bold and impactful moments in your worship music. Power chords are your go-to voicings for that. The octaves, they have much more of a rich and a full sound that adds some depth and warmth to your playing. They're really ideal for creating a sense of stability and unity and harmony, and you can also kind of move them more easily around the guitar neck. That brings a different level of cohesion to your playing, because you don't always have to play the root. You can play any one of the other chord tones with an octave. Then you have your 4 2s. They give you that balanced and open sound that's going to lead itself well to introspective and reflective moments. And by removing that middle note from the triads, the 4 2s will create some space in your playing and really cut through the mix as well, allowing the congregation to connect with the lyrics and the melody on a deeper level, because you can also hint at some of the melody notes as well. Then the second last one is the 1 2 voicings. They have that really bright and shimmering quality, and when you play that on strings 1 and 2, it's perfect for evoking kind of some joyful, upbeat, happy sounds and riffs on the guitar to kind of lift the vibe and the energy on a Sunday when you're playing these 1 2 dyad voicings. And then finally we have our 10ths with their wide and expansive sound, sounding a bit more orchestral and really ideal for creating a sense of awe and wonder and reverence even in your playing. So when you want to convey like the majesty or the grandeur of the Lord, or evoke some feelings of surrender and devotion, 10ths can really help you to achieve that emotional intensity. So by understanding the emotional characteristics that you have with these 2-note chord voicings known as dyads, you can strategically choose the right voicing to match the mood, the moment, and the message of the worship songs that you are playing. Whether you want to create an atmosphere for contemplation and celebration or reverence, dyad voicings will give you the tools to go ahead and enhance the emotional impact of your worship guitar playing. So as you practice these ideas and incorporate them into your playing, just keep in mind the different emotional qualities that these voicings have so that you can go ahead and use them correctly. And the key of that, of course, is to experiment with different voicings in different sections of different songs, and then just pay attention to how they affect the overall atmosphere and even the congregation's engagement to a degree. And by harnessing the power of these diad voicings to evoke these emotions, you'll be able to take your worship guitar playing to new heights and create more profound and impactful worship experiences for all. So let's go ahead and quickly play a progression for you, making use of all 5 different types of diads. Now the diads sound pretty awesome, but there's some common challenges you would have to overcome, which is really about moving these shapes around the guitar nice and seamlessly. And the way that you'll do that is really knowing the notes of your fretboard so that when you move shapes around, you can easily find the root note and then play the relevant voicing. By understanding that layout of the notes across the guitar, you'll be able to find the notes and play your shape, and then as a result get the voicing. So make sure that you spend some time familiarizing yourself with the fretboard and learning the notes. Something else that's super important when you're playing diads, it's 2 notes only, so you need to have your string muting in place so that you don't go ahead and strike any of the unused strings or the strings that you're not fretting. Proper string muting will involve just touching different strings with your fretting hand, and while you're lightly touching those notes, they won't ring out. We have a full video on mastering string muting, which you can find in the description. And then lastly, when you are playing these voicings, you don't want to think about it too much. You want to be able to do it without thinking, and that the seamless diad playing is really all about developing the muscle memory through practice and repetition. And by doing that over and over, you'll be able to play these shapes automatically without thinking about it too much. Just start slowly, focus on your accuracy, and then gradually increasing the speed as you become more comfortable with these voicings. So congratulations on making it to the end of this lesson. You're now equipped with the knowledge and the tools to revolutionize your worship guitar playing by using nothing but simple 2-note voicings. And remember that the key to your success is practicing and consistency, and start by focusing on one type of voicing if this is all new to you. And for that, I would recommend the 4/2 voicings, and we've got a full video on that right here. And we also have a cheat sheet for all of these voicings, which you can find in the description.